we came with a different campaigns ahead of time. Like we provided free laser tape measure, which is something that costs $40 if you buy it directly in the US. And just people came for that. So you didn't need to spend $100,000 on a big booth.
Our guest today, he spent nearly 20 years in construction before writing a single line of code for Spacial, his AI-powered structural engineering platform for residential construction. When building it, he wasn't researching the customer, which is something I really love. Hear me out, because he was the customer. So he hit the same friction at every job, which included long waits for engineering, permit cycles stalling projects, and on-site errors that were just caught way too late. Spacial started as a hybrid solution of engineers paired with automation, so the team could keep learning from workflows, which evolved into a jurisdiction-specific rules engine that adapts to local code. The result was a 6-person team running 140 active projects, booked revenue up to 300% since launch, and clients who used to wait 6+ weeks for stamp plans now getting permit-ready sets in under 10 days. Listen on to learn. Lived pain versus research pain. What changes when the founder spent 20 years being the customer before building anything? The feedback loop as a product strategy, why Spacial kept humans in the loop instead of going straight to pure software, and 3, the number behind the story, how staying close to the job site and permitting function turned into a 300% booked revenue increase. And with that, Maor Greenberg, welcome to Humanized.
Thank you for having me.
That
Was
was
a
a
great intro.
mouthful. Thanks. You did amazing stuff. So yeah, excited to dive into an industry I don't talk that much about on this podcast, and that is the construction space. And you are no newbie to this space. I want you to walk me through a specific job where you hit a wall. So you had these long weeks, the permit cycle stalling. What does this look like? And what's that moment that you realized you had to be the one to fix this?
Oof. So first of all of them had issues, always. The biggest one is the one that I'm keep mentioning in most of my stories, is a house on the border between Atherton and Redwood City in California, which where we are based, in the Silicon Valley. Amazing architect, I have no complaints, was built during COVID. Architect had vaulted ceilings, the structural engineer had flat ceilings. Then you had HVAC system in the garage with no way to run the ducts to the second floor. And the most extreme part about that house was that in every toilet in the top level had a steel beam underneath. So meaning wasn't any way to run through line to that house. The joke was between me and the homeowner is that we're just going to leave the porta potties, the portable toilets outside of the house. And that's going to be his life. The extreme part was that it was in the middle of COVID. The permit was already approved. Now the cities are half working. You had to resubmit all the permit sets. Architects was from the Bay Area. The structural engineer was from Vegas. The MEP engineers was a completely different jurisdiction. So it was a mess and it was a chaos and people weren't available. And when AI started, I said, wait, why do I need to keep suffering? Every
Yeah.
one of my projects, 35% on average, when we did not do the architectural in-house as a design and build firm, was rework and reordering of building materials, which is sadly the fact by the EPA. That's a government fact, which as a builder is reflecting 5% of the construction cost, which is extreme. But more than that, it's taking time. So every project takes more than 27 weeks to create a permit set. Then it takes a year to get permits. Then during construction, you need to pause for another 4 to 5 months to get the permit redone. So that was one of my most extreme projects. And that's where I decided I have to fix that. And that's what Spacial is doing. And we're doing it great. So we have more than 140 projects so far. We are closer to the 280. And the team scaled to 9 people. So still a good delta of differences. But human in the loop is the key. And we can dive more deeper next.
Yeah, no, this is great. I'm all about like the customer experience. And I actually worked for a company, a startup in the insurtech and fintech space that was founded because the two founders were also the customer. So they had that same exact problem. So I love that you were the customer first and like, you not only understand the customer because of that, but then you're learning more about the customer you're going on. So, your company didn't start as a pure software company. It started as a hybrid solution where the engineers plus automation were combined. And I mean, I can kind of guess why you did this, but from your perspective, I'm curious, why did you decide to keep humans in the loop here instead of going straight to the tool? And for people who are not familiar with this industry, maybe you want to elaborate more on what that means.
Okay. So let's start with more about what Spacial is doing overall.
Yeah.
We are automating the entire permit set creation after an architect finalizing the creative part. So we're letting architects focus on the beauty of the building. Floor plan, elevation, roof line, the aesthetic that's sitting and spending time with an homeowner or builder, how the building gonna look. We take those plans and then we're adding the layer of the structural engineering and then on top of it, the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. Now we're doing everything in 3D environment and then we're converting it back to a 2D environment, which is how the industry communicate. Now, you had two ways to run the business. One is you can become a repo tool or co-pilot tool for structural engineers and MEP engineers, or you can decide to be the engineer and hire those engineers in-house.
Mm-hmm.
The reason behind it is regulations also. So every set of plans needs to be stamped by a licensed civil engineer at the end. And then from the MEP needs to be signed and stamped by a mechanical engineer. So that's what's the venues. Or you become one or you're enabling the one. And we have decided to become one. Why? To fix the flow. So we have everything under one roof. One of the problems in this industry is that structural engineers do usually only structural engineers and MEP engineers doing only the MEP, and even the MEP is breaking into three different people. By having everything under one roof, we can assure quality, assure the permit will be approved faster, and we can assure that we're not going to have the same conflicts of the design that I used to experience as a builder. So that's the reason we decided to do so. So we took the bigger statement, but that came from a place that will it help us to gain more trust in the industry, which is a key in the construction industry, which can be probably different than the fintech industry, because fintech is all about numbers and you can see it very quick. Here, you can find out 2 years after that the mistake was done.
I hear that. I mean, I think in any industry, trust is one of the leading factors. In fintech, it's actually huge. But in fintech, if there's an error, it doesn't take 2 years for you to see that error. Typically, you'll see it a lot quicker. So it seems like definitely the risk and the reward situation, this could cause way more problems if you get it wrong, just because it's going to take so long to figure out that's wrong, right?
Agreed.
I'm curious, why did you think you were the one to fix this problem? You're not the only one. You could have just stayed. You had this great career in the builder space, but I mean, where did you get this entrepreneurial bug to go ahead and do something else?
Oh, you want the truth?
I
As
want
an
the truth.
At some point, as an entrepreneur, you get bored from doing the same thing. So
Okay.
I own a construction company. I own a marketplace. So I have 3 showrooms across California that sells everything you need to build a house. I own an architectural firm. I have a development company. In some point, you need the next challenge. And tech for me was the next challenge because also not just from a business perspective, also from people perspective. It's a different styles of people, a different language to talk, different challenges to conquer. So that's the reason I choose that. And then why me? Because I experienced it. And I'm techie enough to know how to do and learn how to do code. And I'm techie enough to know how to understand what needs to be built and how to build it. But at the same time, I know how to surround myself with people that are smarter than me, that can enable me to achieve that goal.
I love that. And I think that's so key of what a good CEO looks like, where you're putting your ego aside and you're like, no, I don't actually know all of this, but I'm going to find the people who do know all of this, the people who are smarter than me. We're going to work together on this. So I think that's a really powerful and vulnerable statement for you to say.
And it's in a podcast. It's recorded for
It's
quality assurance.
It's here forever. Cool. So my listeners, we're all here to drive revenue at the end of the day. And the fact that you had 300% booked revenue increase is super impressive. Now, in the B2B SaaS world, we don't typically use that verbiage. So for my listeners in that space, just define that. What does booked revenue mean?
So first of all, let's go to the 300%. We already hit that goal. So we increased extremely. So if we take 2025, which was our first year of selling, to today, we are technically in 1,000% increase.
All right, so I want to get to the impressive, the 300 booked revenue increase, because everyone wants to know how can they increase revenue, how can they increase meetings booked, all of that. But booked revenue isn't always a common phrase in various industries. So just real quick, break down what that means.
Okay. So what does it mean for us to book revenue? We're in a different industry. It's this industry that takes time to see the results, as we said and mentioned before, which means that there is a process also with the municipalities. So our clients, we are not feeling comfortable or we don't feel that it's fair to charge them up front for our services. So we charge in payment schedules, meaning that deposits, first round of comments from the city, providing them the plans. If there is a second round from the city, providing them the second round of the comments. And then when the permit is approved, we're charging in full. So we're breaking it into phases to make them also feel more comfortable in gaining trust. In the future, when we become a big company, well-known name, then everything can change and we can charge up front. So booking is because that's how this industry works. And it's an industry that did not change for 100 years almost, but mostly from the 70s, with the goal that in the future, of course, it can change.
Yeah. So now let's break down, like, what did you actually do to achieve that?
So we took a different approach than at least our competitors, which is mostly traditional businesses trying to focus on SEO, Google Ads. We took, again, it's all about the trust for us. So we went to conferences and conventions, and I become a public speaker about the industry. We met them where they are, meaning in their organization. So becoming part of the AIA, CIA, any place that we can find them, that's where we're there. We connected everything to a face compared to just a line of text online. So that's, I think, was the biggest difference. And that's why we were able to achieve the revenues. Second is the proposition, right? We're not just here to save you money. We're here to save you time, which is worth more than money at the end, which of course you can translate to money. But we're also saving you headaches in the future because the quality of the plans we provide, and we stand behind that. So that's was the biggest difference for our clients, is not trying to tell them, hey, we are cheaper, which cheaper in our industry can be translated to lower quality. No, we're not necessarily cheaper, but we can save something that takes you 27 weeks and provide it in less than a week.
Yeah, I hear that. I think a lot of times my marketing friends and I will sit together and we'll be like, there's got to be something more we could do. What's like the shiny object or the one secret marketing thing that we haven't thought of that's going to, take the revenue to the next level? But I've been doing marketing for over 16 years. And like what you're saying, this multi-channel approach with the proper positioning and product market fit is in fact like the shiny objects that do work, especially compounded over time. And your business and many other businesses are the proof case for that. I know conferences and all of that could be very expensive, but with a high ticket item like yours, it definitely, has the ROI.
But we can peel it a bit more. Just one of the problem with conventions is why it's expensive is because people trying to have the most shiniest booth. You don't necessarily need to have the more shiniest
Yeah.
one. We had in one of the most expensive in prop tech industry convention only a tiny booth, one of the smallest one, and we had a line of people because we made it feel different. We made it look different, and it was fun and interactive. So we came with a different campaigns ahead of time, like we provided free laser tape measure, which is something that costs $40 if you buy it directly in the US. And just people came for that. So you didn't need to spend $100,000 on a big booth. You were able to just spend $5,000 and spend another $5,000 merchandise, and you were done in $10,000. And in my opinion, sorry that I'm jumping. I jumped in the
No,
middle
no,
of the thing.
jump away. Yeah.
One of the problems that I see in marketing is that most of the businesses focusing on one agenda, one proposition, one value. We are the best. We provide the highest quality. We are the cheapest. And I think that's a mistake. So what we are doing is going after all the three at once. We're offering all of them, but also from a product perspective, we're not a single point solution. We're providing few solutions at once. So we're not just a structural engineer. We're also the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing engineers. So you give them a suite of tools, which is where usually with investors is actually harder. Going back to your first point, it's harder when you're trying to have a full suite, fully vertical product compared to just a single point solution product.
Yeah. So now moving forward to you as a founder, like your day to day, what does that look like when your current customer base and your current customer experience? Like, are you still, because you're not directly in the weeds in that business that you were when you first started that. So what does that customer voice of customer insights look like on the day to day as it molds the success of your business?
So, the sad part about being a CEO is that at the end you get to hear only the bad stuff, not the good stuff. But for my advantage, I will say that there is not much bad, so I am part of the good. But at the end, I'm a sales guy. So I have to get myself. So I still see the clients. I still interact with the clients as much as I can. But yes, it's different. A CEO run a business. He doesn't enjoy the goods of it. And you need to know how to convert your addiction to the yes, which is being a sales guy,
Mm-hmm.
and learn and to listen to a lot of the no's. So that's what's the difference for me. So my day by day is first of all not sleeping. I work 20 hours a day. So the day is long. And divide and conquer between the different parts of it. At nights, it's emails. In the day, is sales. And midday is running the business.
Well, I don't love that you're working 20 hours a day. Please tell us that and living in beautiful California, please tell us that you do have some hobbies outside of work.
Yes.
No,
No.
we don't want burnout for you.
I enjoy it. That's my hobby. It's my work.
No, that's great that, your work can also be your hobby in one. Love that. So just one final thing for anyone listening to this today, if they remember one thing that you said, what's one key takeaway that they could take that they can implement in their business today, no matter what kind of business it might be, to help, improve the business?
Put your ego aside. There is always someone out there that is smarter than you, and make sure you hire him.
Love that. And if people want to find you, where can they go?
Spacial.io. That's our website. That's would be the best place to get to us.
I'll drop it in the show notes. Thank you so much.